In this video, I'll be going over the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, or the LBRP. Some of you may have resistance using the pentagram symbol due to how this occult knowledge has been portrayed through different media sources. However, it's a holy symbol taught by Pythagoras as the embodiment of the four elements in alignment with the Holy Spirit. So you have the element of fire, air, water, and earth in alignment with the apex point of spirit at the top. But before performing the LBRP, you want to perform the Qabalistic Cross ritual, and I have a video for that I'll link down below for y'all. But you would perform that before and after to seal the aura and to prepare yourself to work with the LBRP before performing that ritual. But a couple resources you could look into for some different ways to perform the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram is the Middle Pillar by Israel Regardie. In the last few sections of it, it goes over some different ways for you to perform a Greek rendition or a Gaelic, a Egyptian, and also a African way of performing the Qabalistic Cross, as well as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. And I would also recommend getting a copy of Angels and Archangels by Damien Eccles. And here's what it looks like here for you. And here's what the front cover looks like with the Tree of Life embossed on it. But I would highly recommend both of those books, as they're great resources for performing the Middle Pillar, as well as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, and some other rituals as well. But when performing the ritual, you would want to visualize these pentagrams as a bright whitish blue light, drawing them in the east, south, west, and north directions in your sacred meditative space. However, whenever you project the energy from your body to draw the pentagrams, you would want to pull this energy from the infinite source to do so. So you can anchor a point in the center of the earth and visualize as you breathe into this point, life force energy getting forced or sucked into the earth and growing as brightly as you could possibly make it. You would do this for about 5 to 10 cycles of breath, and you would fill it up with as much energy as you can possibly make it, as bright as you can make it, essentially. And after you fill up the earth with as much energy as you want, you would then see this energy rush up from the earth through your chakra points in your feet, up your legs to your navel or your heart chakra, and then you would project it out from your navel or your heart chakra out your arms using the sword mudra out your hands. And you would draw from the bottom left corner of the pentagram at your left hip up to your third eye at the top, down to your right hip, back up to your left shoulder, and then to your right shoulder, and then back down to your left hip to complete the pentagram. And then while drawing the pentagram at the same time, you would want to vibrate or intone a sacred mantra. At least this is what I do to help make it more powerful whenever you're drawing the pentagrams. But for the east, it would be the air element. For the south, it would be the fire element. For the west, it would be the water element. And then for the north, it would be the earth element. And I'll give you some different mantras that you can use from different languages to use when drawing the pentagrams for these elements. But whenever you're doing this, you would want to visualize that pentagram lighting up as brightly as you could possibly make it, and also vibrating at the same time. But for Hebrew, if you wanted to use Hebrew, the air element would be ruach. For fire, it would be ash or esh. For water, it would be mime or mem. And then for earth, it would be aretz. If you wanted to use Latin or Greek, for Latin, air would be aer. For fire, it would be igni or ignis. For water, it would be aqua. And then for earth, it would be terra. For Greek, these mantras are divine, and then the element is what it stands for. So for air, it would be theos, aer. For fire, it would be theon pier. For water, it would be theon hydor. And then for earth, it would be thea gay. And if you wanted to use the Sumerian language, for air, it would be lil. For fire, it would be easy. For water, it would be Ida or Halba. And then for earth, it would be Urash. And I find the Sumerian words to be the most powerful for me, though you may have a greater affinity for a different language that I don't provide here, and that's fine. You can use whatever you think is best for you, and there are many different ways to perform this ritual with different deities and angels and so forth. and it's simply a formula that you employ to use whatever you choose for it. But after you draw a pentagram for a quarter, you would then vibrate a divine name for that pentagram afterwards. And I'll give you some different ones for that as well. So after you complete the pentagram in the east, the south, the west, or the north, any of these directions, you would draw it first with the element mantra, and then you would vibrate another mantra onto it after that, and then you would move on to the next pentagram after that. So for Hebrew, for the east, it would be Yod-He, Vav-He, or Yahweh. For the south, it would be Adonai. For the west, it would be Ehyeh, or I am. And then for north, it would be Agala. And you can look up exactly what these mantras mean for yourself. There's several different sources that can teach you exactly what they mean. But I'll give some different ways for you or a source for you to look up how to perform the Lesser Banishing ritual down below as well. But for Greek, if you wanted to use a Greek mantra instead of Hebrew, you could use, for East, it would be Pneuma, or Spirit. For South, it would be Psyche, or Soul. For the West, it would be Nous, or Mind. And then for the North, it would be Soma, or Body. And then if you wanted to use Latin instead, for the East, it could be Spiritus, for Spirit. For the South, it would be Animus, for Soul. For the West, it would be Mens, for Mind. And then for the North, it would be Corpus, for Body. And I've tried to look up for some different Sumerian mantras to use, but I wasn't so lucky as far as finding what I could use. But I'll have to find a different source for that, and I'll make a video on this, how to perform the Sumerian rendition of it by itself in a later video. But if you feel like you don't want to use the pentagrams, you could always use a cross instead, like a Christian cross, or you could use the dingir or dingir of the Sumerian cuneiform is another way for you to draw these different powerful symbols around yourself whenever you're performing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. But after you vibrate that name, that second mantra for each pentagram, you would then see the energy for that quarter of that space getting sucked into an infinite source point out in front of you to clear that space of the energy that might be in that room for the east, for the south, for the west, and for the north, to completely cleanse that space of any energy. And you would do that as you vibrate that second mantra to pull it into that infinite source point that you make with your mind. But as you draw each pentagram, you would also connect them with a whitish blue light of line, or a line of light in a circle surrounding yourself. That connects at all the center points of the pentagram. So after you've charged that pentagram with the first mantra and then the second mantra, after clearing the space, you would then breathe into the earth one more time, seeing it grow as brightly as you could possibly make it. And then you would see that energy rush up through your body, out through your hand, into the center of the pentagram. And then you would draw a line to the next direction, which would be from the east to the south, then from the south to the west after you're done with the south pentagram. And then after you're done with the west pentagram, you would draw it to the north. And then after you're done with the north pentagram, you would draw it to the east and completely surround yourself in a circle and pentagrams at the same time, all in flaming whitish blue light. And then after you've completed this circle around yourself, after drawing all the pentagrams and vibrating them, you would then invoke the elemental archangels or deities of your choosing. You could try to find some different deities that you want to work with, or call on them for assistance with high magic, and you may be pleasantly surprised with the results when doing this. But it depends on your spiritual development, just how easily you're going to connect with these things, or how easy it will be for you to perform this ritual. Some people may take just a few times to do it to make it very powerful for themselves, or it may take a lot of times to do before you can actually sense the subtle energy around you whenever you're doing this ritual. But for the Hebrew, the traditional way to perform this ritual, you would invoke the Archangel Raphael in front of you. So you would say, "Before me, Raphael." And then behind you, you would do Gabriel. On your right hand, you would do Michael or Michael. And then on your left hand, you would do Uriel. But some of the sources just have you do the 4 archangels right there. But other people like Damian Eccles also add a couple more to the ritual, which is what I like to do as well. And you would then also do above yourself Metatron, and then below yourself Sandalphon. I'm going to go ahead and give a couple of different ways for you to do it in Greek or Sumerian as well, if you want to work with those deities instead. I would suggest doing it with the archangels to begin with, and get used to doing the ritual that way. And then after you're comfortable with doing the ritual, after you're doing it a few more times, I would recommend doing it with whatever deities you choose to do so afterwards. But for the Greek, you could do Apollo in front of you. You could do Hecate behind you. You could do Hermes on your right hand, and then Athena on your left hand. And then you could do Zeus above you, and then Demeter below you for the Greek. For the Sumerian, you could do Anu or Marduk in front of you. Then behind you, Inanna. On your right hand, Enlil or Ninlil. His wife is Ninlil. And then on your left hand, Enki or Ninki. I like to do both whenever I'm doing the Sumerian rendition of this ritual. So I'll do Enlil and Ninlil on my right hand, and then Enki and Ninki on my left hand. And then for above you, you would do Anshar, and then below you, you would do Kishar. And that's the completion of the Sumerian rendition of the LBRP. But like I said, it's completely up to you which deities you would like to work with. However, you may find better results with some rather than others, depending on past lives and your current interests. But after invoking the angels and archangels or deities, you would then say, "For about me flame the pentagrams, and within the column shines the 6-rayed star." And you would visualize the pentagrams growing as brightly as you could possibly make them. And then you would also draw the Star of David above you, below you, and on your heart. So what you could do if you want to increase psychic abilities as well while you're doing it, you could draw the invoking hexagram of the moon, starting at the bottom and then drawing it clockwise. So for the hexagram, you would draw from the bottom point up to the left, and draw the triangle for the bottom there, and then you would draw the same triangle inverted up to the top clockwise going this way. And that's the invoking moon hexagram. And I usually do that to try and help increase my psychic abilities while I'm performing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram at the same time. And you can see this light as purple, or you could do it as gold, or you could do it as white, just whatever you want to do whenever you're performing the ritual. Or you could just draw the pentagram, or the hexagram, just like a regular. So you could go clockwise from the top going down, completing it that way, and then draw it clockwise from the bottom going up as well. But whenever you're performing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, you also want to do it with the intention of balancing the elements within yourself at the same time, within all of your bodies. So in the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual bodies, all encompassing in your character. And this will help to promote the positive aspects of those elements, and also to banish away or negate the negative influences of those elements as well. But that's essentially it for the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. If you found this video informative or of value to you, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you have any questions, you need some help performing the ritual, or if you have any feedback, or if you want to leave some topics for me to address in a later video, also leave that in the comments down below as well. And subscribe to the channel, because I'll be posting a lot of videos on here into the future. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.